Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Gwen and his girls, I'd like to welcome you all here to the Mason Park Chapel in Wangaratta, whether here in person or whether joining us via the live stream. I thank you for joining with us as we gather to celebrate the life of Mr. Ray Bicknell. Well, I'd just like to draw your attention to the fact that we do have an online memorial page for Ray, and that memorial page can be found via our website. The online memorial page is the opportunity for any of you to share a story or memory that you have, or to sign an online memorial book to show your support to his family. And there is also a link on that memorial site to the Heart Foundation, where donations can be made in memory of Ray, and any donation would be greatly appreciated. Now, following our service here in the chapel, Ray will make his final journey for private cremation. Leading us in our service today is civil celebrant Mrs. Jennifer Broadbent. So again to you all, a very warm welcome.
I'm only human, I'm just a man. Help me to believe in what I can be and all that I am, and show me the stairway that I have to climb. Lord, for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking of you. Give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. So for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. Do you remember when you walked among men? Well, Jesus, you know, if you're looking below, it's worse now than then. Pushing and shoving, crowding my mind. So for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus, that's all I'm asking of you. Give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. So for my sake, teach me to take one day at a time. Yes, for just my sake, teach me to take one day at a time.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As mentioned, my name is Jennifer Broadbent, and it's my privilege to lead this service today. We are gathered to honour and celebrate the life and memory of Ray Walter Bicknell, a unique, strong and proud gentleman. On behalf of everyone here today, I extend our sincere condolences to Ray's family. His wife of 64 years, Gwenda, his daughters, Christine, Judith and Robin, and sons-in-law, David and Glenn, to his adored grandchildren and their partners, Danielle and Jeff, Jodie and Mark, Laura and Dan, Cameron and Danielle, Rhiannon, Megan and Jake. To his cherished great-grandchildren, Jake, Ella, Spencer, Isla, Noah and Lucas. To his brothers and their wives, Laurie, known to most of you as Tig, and Patricia, James, known to most of you as Jimmy, and Valerie, sister Pamela and her husband Wally, brothers and sisters-in-law, Elaine and Lindsay deceased, Arthur and Joan, Beres deceased, and John, extended family members and special friends. Our presence here is to give our support to you and to share in your grief. Due to the COVID-19 restrictions, there are many family members who are unable to attend, and I invite Christine, Judith and Robin to come forward to place a floral tribute of remembrance in their honour. Laura, Dan, Noah and Lucas. Cameron and Danielle. Tige and Pat. Jimmy and Val. Pam and Wally. Arthur and Joan. Brian and Jane. Colin and Kim. Some of those people are here with us today via the magic of technology. All of your lives have been enriched by having known Ray. In this way, love transcends all things, even death. We never lose the people we love as they are a part of our every action, thought and decision, as love leaves an indelible handprint on our hearts. Memories and love unite you in a myriad of ways that were significant to you all. Ray was a brother, son, husband, father, father-in-law, grandfather, great-uncle, great-grandfather, uncle and friend, and within each role he played his part in the only way that he knew how. We are here together in a final act of unity to celebrate his life, to speak his name and his actions, and remember that he lived and walked in our world. And of course today gives you the opportunity to say farewell. Nothing can erase the depth of experience that he faced. Nothing can detract from the joy, beauty, love, fear or pain that he endured, as the past, that special tapestry he wove, known intimately only to those around him, will remain sacred and secure. His influence, however, endures in the consequences which flowed from his character and his deeds. They're a part of your heritage, a little piece inside each of you. There are times, however, when we need to remind ourselves that life has a beginning and an end. Life exists between the birth and death of individuals who in turn pass on the process of life to their children. An individual's lifespan could be brief or significantly lengthy, however, within it lie experience, purpose and achievements, some great and others uneventful. What each individual makes of it in itself is mortality. Each soul leaves a legacy of love. Each memory is a bridge to connect one heart to another. Death reignites important values and enables us to cherish those qualities we are most grateful for. Ray was a proud, determined, intelligent and hard-working man, dedicated to his goals and all that he held dear to his own heart. Family was important to Ray. He was happy as long as his family was happy. Gwenda and his daughters told me that Ray was an easygoing, hard-working man who worked long hours to provide for his girls. I was told that he was larger than life and that he loved a good joke and a good chat. Ray was proud of his grandchildren. He may not have always been a physical presence in their lives, but he kept up to date on what they were doing and cheered them on from the sidelines. This past Christmas was a wonderful celebration with all the family together. Christine, Judith and Robin told me that their dad was a big softie. He was always there for us. We could talk to Mum and Dad about anything that was going on in our lives. I asked Judith to come forward at this time to share with us the poem, What Makes a Dad, supported by Christine and Robin. And perhaps we might just like to take a moment to turn our phones to off or silent. Thank you.
What makes a dad? God took the strength of a mountain, the majesty of a tree, the warmth of a summer sun, the calm of a quiet sea, the generous soul of nature, the comforting arm of night, the wisdom of the ages, the power of the eagle's flight, the joy of a morning in spring, the faith of a mustard seed, the patience of eternity, the death of a family need. Then God combined these qualities when there was nothing more to add. He knew his masterpiece was complete, and so he called it Dad. I just want to say, on behalf of my sisters, Christine and Robin and myself, I just want to say to Mum and Dad, we could not have asked for any better parents. You brought us up to be respectful, honest, and above all, to love one another. We love you, Mum and Dad.
The past few years have been tough on Ray as he battled ill health, and as sad as his family is today to say goodbye. His family, especially his beloved Gwenda, who is saying goodbye to the love of her life, her rock, are consoled by the knowledge that Ray is now at peace. I'm going to share with you now Ray's eulogy on behalf of his family, who spent some time putting this together over the last few days. Ray Walter Bicknell, the first of 4 children for Laurie and Ella Bicknell, was born on the 13th of December 1932 under a locust tree on Markwood Road. He weighed 3 pounds and for the first 3 months was washed in olive oil and slept in a drawer. Laurie, or Tig, as we call him, was born on the 1st of January 1934, followed by James, Jimmy, in 1943 and Pam in 1948. Unfortunately, they are unable to attend today because of the restrictions of COVID-19. Ray was known by many names: Ray, Dad, Pop, Poppy and Bicco. He grew up in Worali and attended the Worali South School before moving to Wangaratta Tech. School was not Dad's forte, although he did love sports day. He loved the outdoors, fishing, shooting and trapping rabbits and foxes before school. He used to dry the skins and sell them. He got 10 shillings for fox skins and 2 shillings a pound for rabbit skins, chasing the buck from a young age. On leaving school at the age of 15, Ray took up an apprenticeship with Bob Barker, a local builder in Worali. There was a moment of concern when the apprenticeship papers arrived and Ray didn't have any education certificates. He appealed to the principal of the tech school, who said, "Now, Ray, I hope you realise you should have concentrated on your schoolwork." Ray breathed a sigh of relief when he recommended him for the apprenticeship, and so began Ray's working life. Whilst doing his apprenticeship, he was amazed that he topped the class in carpentry. He enjoyed the work and transferred his apprenticeship to Alan King for the last 2 years, which he finished in March of 1952. Ray built many houses in and around Wangaratta and could still tell you who he built them for. Whilst the children were growing up, Ray was out working all day and then digging stump holes for houses after work until it got too dark. for 1 shilling a hole using a crowbar and shovel. It's tough work. An average of 40 to 50 holes were required per house, and they all had to be 18 inches deep. He would then come home for tea and draw plans until late at night, and he did this for 25 years. Ray built all the houses that he and Gwenda lived in, and 2 for Christine and David. He continued building until he retired, and then he concentrated on his veggie patch and garden. His pride and joy were his sweet peas and vinkers. He loved to mow the lawn and keep everything neat and tidy. Going back a little in time, as a young man, Ray would attend the dances in Myrtleford and Wangaratta, and that was where he met the love of his life, Gwenda Hammond, in 1954. After 12 months of courtship, he asked her to marry him, and of course, she said yes. He then asked her father, who said, "That's okay, I suppose you know what you're doing." They got engaged on Mum's 21st birthday, on Gwenda's 21st birthday. They bought a block of land at 33 Larking Street and set about building their first home. As the house was progressing well, they decided to get married on the 24th of September 1955, a marriage that has lasted the test of time for 64 years. After a reception at the Green Door in Murphy Street, they set off for their honeymoon in the 2-door Anglia they had bought. They had to go through floodwaters, which came up to the running boards, but they made it through. When they returned from their honeymoon, Ray decided to start building houses on his own in Morale, so was gone from morning to night. On the 22nd of May, 1956, Christine was born, followed by Judith on the 22nd of November 1959, and Robin on the 30th of March 1964. As Ray said, the odds were now 4-1, but he loved it. Growing up, the girls had a lot of fun with their mum and dad, and every 2 years they would go on a holiday. They would pack the car and head off early in the morning. Ray would drive all night, and sometimes he wouldn't stop at a motel, so Gwenda and the girls had to sleep in the car until they got to their destination. The girls remember Friday nights were a big night at home, fish and chips for tea, with lollies afterwards. Ray played cricket for Werrali for 5 years with 1 premiership and 80 wickets, and also football for Werrali in 1952, where they won the premiership. In 1967, Ray and Gwenda took up squash, which they played for 15 years. Ray has always loved to have a bet, and he only stopped when he couldn't get to the TAB anymore. And of course, it didn't stop him from reading the form guide and picking out horses he thought might run okay. He would watch the races on the television to see how they went. Ray and Gwenda attended the races in the district and joined the Turf Club. They also attended the Melbourne Cup and Caulfield Cup a number of times. They had a passion for tennis and started attending the Australian Open on a regular basis. They loved every minute of it and saw some great tennis players competing over the years. When they could no longer attend, they still enjoyed watching it on television. In 1976, Ray and Gwenda joined the Wangaratta Football Club, where Ray was on the committee as ground manager and also on committee of management at City Council. Gwenda was involved in the ladies committee, working in the kiosk and fundraising, and both were awarded life memberships after 16 years. Ray and Gwenda enjoyed many holidays together, both in and out of Australia. They had many day trips and short holidays, and for a lot of years they would go out every week to the pokies in either Albury, Corowa or Yarrawonga. They'd do some shopping, have a meal and then play the pokies. Every July, Ray and Gwenda would head off to Queensland to the Pacific Resort and stay for a month, soaking up the sun. Their last overseas trip was to Las Vegas and Hawaii to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary. Ray loved to buy trinkets whilst on these trips, much to Gwenda's despair. Of great joy to Ray was the marriage of his daughters, Christine in 1975, Robin in 1984 and Judith in 1986. And then, of course, the birth of his grandchildren, Danielle, Jodie, Laura, Rhiannon, Megan and Cameron. Even greater delight was the marriage of his granddaughters, Danielle, Jodie and Laura, and the birth of great-grandchildren, Jake, Ella, Spencer, Isla, Noah and Lucas. Ray loved spending time with them and hearing about what they were doing. Whenever his daughters visited Ray, he would always ask about his grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and he continued to do this right up until he passed. He delighted in playing with them and was a wonderful pop and great poppy to them all. Ray was a people person who loved talking to people. He may have been a bit tough-looking on the outside, but inside he was a big old softy. As children, his girls knew that if they wanted something, it was best to ask their dad first, because he always said yes. Then they would go to their mum and say, "Dad said we could." But if Ray had said no, that was it. Ray was a gentleman, hard-working, caring, loving, and he adored his family. In his daughter's words, Dad would do anything he could to help us, and we certainly appreciated it. He was funny, full of jokes and pranks, too many of us to go through today, and he'll be greatly missed by us all. We will remember the good times we had, and we're privileged to call him our husband, Dad, Pop and Poppy. And a PS on the end, don't worry, Dad, we won't forget to S-A-V-E, save. And for those who knew him well, you would have heard him say many times over the last 50 years, we'll all be dead in 20 years. I ask Judith to come forward again, please, to read with us a poem.
When I am gone from this mortal shore and wander round this land no more, don't weep, don't sigh, don't grieve or sob. Maybe I've landed a better job. Don't think to buy me a wreath. Instead, spend the money on something nice to eat. And don't stand around me looking blue. I may be a lot better off than you. Don't tell the folks I was a saint or anything you know I ain't. If you have things like that to spread, please tell it to them before I'm dead. If you have roses, bless your soul, then put one in my buttonhole. However, do it when I'm at my best. Don't wait until I'm safe at rest.
Thank you. Now don't you sit down, Christine. Christine and granddaughters Danielle, Jodie and Rhiannon are going to come forward now to share with us their tributes. Thank you.
Our Pop, a wave crashing on the shore, full of energy and life, but then no more. Pop, I knew the time would come to take a bow, but my heart always said tomorrow, not now. Every time we left, holding back a tear, and longing to meet again the following year. To hear again the familiar chat, how's it poppin'? Pull my finger, I'll charge you for that. Your wonderful quirks, your forgetful side. How many of those Easter eggs did I hide? Your joyful spark, the jokes you made. The bets you lost, which grandma paid. The rubbish you kept, just in case you should. I might use that later, you never would. The glint in your eye when you're up to no good. Making sure it's fresh, fingers straight in the pud. Never a dull moment when you were around. We hope Jiminy Cricket was eventually found. Our Pop, you were simply one of a kind. Perhaps too much cologne, but we didn't mind. And like that wave crashing on the shore, you leave a mark forevermore. Hooroo for now.
So this is a tribute or memory from my cousin Cameron, which I'm reading on his behalf. He couldn't be here today. Today we honour a man who sits very close to my heart. He left an amazing legacy behind and taught me a lot of life lessons. He was a very witty, strong-minded man and always hungry. He was a devoted husband of 64 years to beautiful grandma. I remember the stories of Pop riding his push bike from Raleigh to Wangaratta so he could spend time with Grandma. It was love from an early stage, until later in life Grandma taught him how to drive a car and his push bike days were over. I've got a lot of fond memories of Pop, but there's a few that stand out. One was the time we went to Glenrowan in winter to go pick cherries. I was only about 6 years of age. It was a freezing cold morning and predicted to rain. Grandma told us maybe we shouldn't go, but that was not going to derail our plans. So off we went in Pop's old ute until we hit torrential rain. It was so bad we had to pull over. Pop then turned to me and said, maybe we should have listened to Grandma. We eventually made it back to Wang with the fruit and sopping wet from the rain. Another time that stands out, I was a little older, around 8 years of age. We went down to the park at the end of the street to see how good we were at throwing a boomerang. We weren't the best, but Pop got one to come back to him. He suddenly launched in the air to catch it, but in the process lost his balance and landed on his shoulder. He was in a fair bit of pain, but still laughing, but he couldn't get up. I needed to get help, so I sprinted all the way back home to get Grandma and Mum so we could get him back home safely. In the later years, we watched a lot of cricket, so much that we used to get banished to the sunroom out the back, which eventually got the nickname the cricket room. We would watch the test all day, then switch over to the big bash. It was countless hours of chats and banter, something I'll miss. Thanks for everything, Pop. Rest in peace, Cameron.
Today we not only farewell such a special cherished man, we also celebrate one of the most entertaining, caring and beautiful souls in this world. We mourn the loss of our loved one. He certainly made an imprint on us all and will continue to do so. In the memory of his gorgeous soul and his cheeky grin, Poppy, you were my hero. You were one of a kind. You were genuine. You were one of the funniest characters in this world. Your grandma showed me what dreams are made of. Such a beautiful, full life together. 64 years of loving marriage. What hard work and determination can reward you with. You were forever cracking funny buggers and you were always up for a snack. I'll never forget anything that you did for us, Poppy. From the train rides when me and Megan were young with Grandma to making Grandma breakfast in bed for years on end. You were the definition of a true man, Poppy, and I'll hold you so close to my heart always. Love you.
These were just a few words I put down about Pop that I wrote myself. A hard-working bloke, burly and strong. A marshmallow inside, those tears never took long. A prankster, a joker, pull my finger, those false teeth. Eruptions of laughter, it was no mean feat. Those crazy one-liners, how's it poppin'? Hooroo! They make me smile because it's what made you you. The spam in a can that you love to eat. The lamb's brains you'd feast on as a little treat. Macca's 30-cent cones couldn't be beat. It was one thing you simply loved to eat. The veggie patch that you tended to daily, but tomatoes in an old loo, had you gone crazy? A regular walk to the TAB, a punt on the horses, races 1, 2 and 3. A flutter on the pokies after lunch at the club. No time to waste after eating pub grub. Stand up straight, you're hunched over, we'd say. Oh, Christ, my back, you'd respond in dismay. Ovals and shirts were your standard attire. But look out, crazy boxer shorts, he's on fire. The old grey ute you drove for years. My God, your driving could invoke feelings of fear. The paint-covered wireless always held to your ear. The noise would drive us to drink, but it was always near. Jingle, tingle, clink, clank in your pocket. Loose coins in your hands, hands always in pockets. Surrounded by ladies, you'd get lost with the names. Was it Christine, Robin, or Judith? Or were you just playing games? Fond memories of your humour, your smile and that hair. To have such beauty, you'd argue, just wasn't fair. Ray Walter Beetle Bicknell, Ray Bicko and Ray, so many names he went by, but there's one simple name that makes me cry. Of all the names, I must confess, Poppy is the name that I liked best.
This first tribute is from Dad's brother Tig and his sister Pam. So goodbye, dear friend and brother. Sorry we are not here today. Your good nature, laughter and fun will be with us forever. So Ray, make 'em laugh up there. Love Pam, Wally, Pat and Tig and their families. And I'd just like to finish this little tribute with some words from his great-grandchildren. Little Isla couldn't come today. She felt it was too sad. She thought Poppy might reincarnate into an animal, and that makes her think he's in the world again. I think he's a peacock because they're bright and colourful and because they're funny, and that makes me happy. That's Isla. Spencer, when he heard Poppy had died, made this comment. Poppy was the funniest man on earth. He would always say, "Stop stealing my lollies," when we got bananas and marshmallows from the lolly drawer. He was lucky to live through one whole life cycle. He went through baby, toddler, child, teenager, adult, grandparent and great-grandparent.
We will take a few minutes now to reflect on life with Ray. Remember him in your own way. Think of the road you have walked and travelled together throughout his life. Think of the many experiences that you shared with him. Most of all, remember him just as he was. As we are reflecting and remembering, or perhaps you might like to use this time to say a silent prayer, we will be watching a slideshow of photographs and listening to the song "Wind Beneath My Wings" by Bette Midler. I'd like to ask Christine to come forward again, please, to read the poem, A Limb Has Fallen from the Family Tree.
This is a poem that Mum chose. A limb has fallen from the family tree. I keep hearing a voice that says, grieve not for me. Remember the best times, the laughter, the song, the good life I lived while I was strong. Continue my heritage, I'm counting on you. Keep smiling and surely the sun will shine through. My mind is at ease, my soul is at rest, remembering all how I truly was blessed. Continue traditions no matter how small. Go on with your life, don't worry about falls. I miss you all dearly, so keep up your chin. Until the day comes, we're together again.
Ray passed away peacefully at North East Health on the 19th of July. At the grand age of 87, he quietly went to sleep. On behalf of his family, I thank all of the staff who cared for and supported Ray during his final days. Gwenda has also asked me to acknowledge and thank the staff at St John's and the Ovens Medical Centre for their wonderful care and support. It is unknown as to what lies beyond this life. What we do know is that life and death are a natural part of the cycle that we all get to experience. Life has its beginning and its end. We create our own beliefs and understanding that brings meaning to our lives and our relationship to others. Whatever your beliefs, let us call upon our shared humanity and inner strength to uphold and guide us. The love you shared with Ray will remain with you always. Whatever sadness you must experience through this time of change, may it move through you gently and with grace. May you feel the peace that is present within you always, beyond stories and memories, beyond pain and suffering. May you call upon family and friends and the support that is within the community that surrounds you. It's now time to say goodbye to Ray. Be glad that Ray lived. Be glad you saw his face and felt the pressure of his hand and hugs. Cherish the memory of his words, his laughter, his deeds and his character. Cherish the memory of his life, his friendship, and most of all, his love. To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose on earth, a time to be born and a time to die. Here in this last act, in sorrow but without fear, with love and appreciation, we commit Ray Walter Bicknell to his natural end, earth to end, dust to dust. His journey here on earth has ended and begins in another realm. Ray, we send you into the next part of your journey with our love and care. Even though you were precious to us, we let you go with loving care. We send you onwards, carrying with you all the beauty of life which we have shared with you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, our service here today has ended. I wish you all a safe journey home. May peace be with you all. I ask you to please stand. Thank you.
Over all my burdens and through all my fears, Jesus carries me. dreamed he was walking along the beach with the Lord. Across the sky flashed scenes from his life. For each scene, he noticed 2 sets of footprints in the sand. One belonged to him, and the other to the Lord. When the last scene of his life flashed before him, he looked back at the footprints in the sand. And he noticed that many times along the path of his life, there was only 1 set of footprints. He also noticed that this seemed to happen at the very lowest and the saddest times of his life. This really bothered him, and he questioned the Lord about it. Lord, you said that once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I've noticed that during the most troublesome times in my life, there's only 1 set of footprints. I don't understand why, when I needed you the most, you'd leave me. The Lord replied, "Oh, my precious, precious child. I love you, and I would never leave you during your times of trial and suffering. When you see only 1 set of footprints, I didn't leave you. It was then